Hello friends, I'm here once again to discuss the causes and effect of neuro-linguistic programming. Till this date, we have discussed neuro-linguistic programming and its introduction in detail, and also scopes of neuro-linguistic programming. What are the scopes? And then also the modeling, communicating model of neuro-linguistic programming. Because to know about neuro-linguistic programming, it is very important to know the various models, that is meta model, the Melton model, to get the desired effect. Now this is the time to learn about causes and effect. What are the causes and what are the effect of neuro-linguistic programming? Because we all know that it is the language that is based on nervous system and then the processing by the brain. So let us begin with that neuro-linguistic programming cause is greater than effect. What does it mean that cause is greater than effect? Because a cause is defined as to why something happens and effect is defined as to what happens because of the cause. So cause is always very important. Always try to know, explore why there is a cause for it. So when it comes to neuro-linguistic programming, cause and effect, let us know how we go about living our lives. Neuro-linguistic programming is in fact the study of the mind and how we are all wired. Wired means what? Nervous system. That throughout the brain, do you know one thing? That we have cables more than the cables that is there on the earth. So that kind of cable wire we have in our mind and throughout the body. So when it comes to cause and effect, you are either a person who lives at cause or at effect. So generally we get alarmed to know the effect of. Now, causes and effect of neuro-linguistic programming, what exactly is the cause and effect equation? As I told you that cause is greater than the effect. So what exactly is the cause and effect equation? Cause means that you take responsibility for creating what you want in your life and what you achieve or set a goal to achieve. That is the meaning of the cause, and I told you that taking the responsibility for something to make success is a big thing. And if you take responsibility even of success, even of failure, that is again, it is your strength. So cause means your responsibility. You view the world as an ocean of opportunity rather than a mire of obstacles, and you move positively towards the life that you want. It is true. I mean, what kind of world? It is an ocean of opportunity or a mire of obstacles. That is your point of view. That is your outlook. And your success and failure, everything depends on that point of view. So to be at cause means you accept that you have a choice about who you are, what you do, and how you react to other people, their emotions and responses to you and to the events around you. This is the cause. What are the cause? Suppose you are a very successful person. What are the cause? A very good family, very good and supporting family member, no financial crunches, your own excellence, your own systematic movement. These are the causes. So the events around you and surroundings, that is also very important when we talk of cause. So when you are at effect, you are likely to blame other people or situation for what you don't have or you have failed to achieve in life. But this is done generally by weak people. When you are at the effect side of life, you perceive yourself as disenfranchised and almost powerless. Maybe you are waiting for something to turn up, for the universe to miraculously dish out a solution to the obstacle you stumble up against time after time. This is the effect. You are finding yourself the victim of circumstances. You are finding yourself or putting yourself in a court where you have no power. This is the effect. Well, these are the questions very important that you can ask. You are in victim mode, a victim of self-imposed circumstances, and you often operate, sometimes without even realizing, purely out of fear. Victim mode, what does it mean? You are afraid, you are in fear mode, whatever the situation, whatever the reason. A victim of self-imposed circumstances. Maybe that cause of fear not there, but even then it is in your psyche. It is in your subconscious, and that is self-imposed. So sometimes even without realizing, I mean unconsciously you are in fear, and purely out of fear. Fear of never achieving what you want. In some of my lecture, I discussed that what are the cause of stage fear? What are the cause of, anchoring? The cause is that you are self-obsessed. You are obsessed with your image, so that your image may not get, black, or people may not laugh at you. Such kind of feeling that comes to your mind. Fear of losing what you do have. Wouldn't it be better to begin to operate from a position of empowerment? Wouldn't it be better to begin to operate from a position of empowerment? Very important, you ask that fear of losing what you do have, and that is why you may not move ahead. So don't you think that this is a kind of, it is better to begin to operate from a position of empowerment? You think, okay, if you are going to lose, fine, you are going to achieve something more. The interesting thing is that no matter where you are today, this minute at present, right now, you are where it hardly matters. If you don't like it, you can steps to change it. Right now, you have a choice. You should not be a slave of your setup, of your mental block. You have to break it, and you have to move ahead. It is your choice. You have the resources and the power to step out of the model of the world you live in, and to begin to create your world the way that you want it. There are several revolutions in the history. If you turn the pages of history, you will find the very reason of revolution. The person who is revolutionary had to do so many things and turn the table, creating a number of enemies. People may be happy or unhappy, it hardly matters. It is revolutionary. So if you want to make a revolutionary change of your personality, you have to take a step. You merely need to recognize that it is your responsibility, nobody else's. So stop and think. If you are not happy with your lot, with your present situation, with your circumstances, what action can you take to change it? You think rather to beat the drum that my situation is not good. Now, what are the steps through which you can minimize the bad effect? What is the one thing that you can do right now, here and now, to move towards a better, more fulfilling place? That should be your mind setup. You ask questions to yourself that right now I have to change my position. Right now I have to take a vow. Right now I have to do this. Right now I have to turn the table. And with this vow, you just move ahead and you can change your life. So, using NLP with causes and effect as a way influencing self. For example, understanding one's own responses and changing behavior. You must have seen even the professional world. Some of them are very responsible, very successful, but some of them are very, very irresponsible and unsuccessful, but most of the time putting blame to others. Blame to others because they are powerless. They don't have guts. So how to influence your own self, that is very important. Influencing self. You know yourself and you influence. Influencing others, for example, recognizing other people's language, patterns or communication preferences. Influencing others like recognizing other people's language, patterns or communicating preferences. Be like others also. As we discussed repeatedly that flexibility is one of the important key factor to get success when we discuss neuro-linguistic programming. So, recognizing other people, language and patterns or communicating preferences to compete with other to get success. This is also very helpful in causes and effect. Now, building rapport, visual, how does that look to you? Do you see what I mean? Means looking and seeing. How does that look to you? What kind of look is that? How do you see what I mean? Auditory, what does that sound good to you? Internal dialogue, what do you say to yourself about that? Feeling, how would you feel about that? So, all such things, you know, that your mind and body, you had to establish a rapport continuously to know the cause and effect. As I said, while starting the cause and effect, that causes are greater than effect. Why it is greater than effect? Who is responsible for the cause? It is you perhaps, your surroundings. So, how does that look? Do you see what you mean? Does that sound good to you? And say to yourself about that and what kind of feeling you have. Now, smart outcomes, well, smart goal outcomes are another way of setting a well-formed goal. There are two types of working, smart working and hard working. Hard working doesn't mean very smart working, but a smart working means that the outcome is certainly there in your hand. So, a smart, S for short, specific, simple. In a very short, in a very simple manner and in a very target manner, you achieve your goal. M for measurable, meaningful to you, more than one way to achieve it, that is flexibility. So, measurable, you know that how much time you have to invest to achieve this, and more than one way to achieve it, that is flexibility. If this way you cannot reach there, the other way. A, as if now, in present tense, achievable, all areas of your life. It is rightly said that tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes, so why not today? You start today as if now in the present tense, and are for realistic, responsible, ecological right for you. Yeah, in the previous lecture I defined what is ecology means. Ecology means your surrounding, your society, the environment. So, responsible, ecological right for you. What are the rights that you have and what are the duty you have? So, be realistic. And T for towards what you want, positive times, no negation and no comparative. What you want? No negation, never no, always yes, no comparatives. What you are, and it is you who has to achieve goal with successful causes and effect. So, this is the smart outcome of the causes and effect. Now, some of the coolest, most powerful, useful NLP techniques when we talk of causes and effect. So, an anchor in any representation in the human nervous system that trigger any other representation. It is conceptually similar to Pavlovian conditioning, think bells and salivating dogs. One can anchor yourself intentionally. For example, think of an occasion when you had a highly pleasurable, positive or enjoyable experience. Now, you see, it is also a kind of psychological process. If you are an anchor, I mean, with the passage of time, you will be fit into that situation so much that it takes hardly any minute to anchor and to speech at the stage, whatever the circumstances. So, like for example, that the occasion when it is very favorable to you. Second, see what you saw then, looking out through your own eyes, hear what you heard and feel what you felt. Then as you feel the sensation increase in intensity, squeeze the thumb and four fingers of your left hand gently together for a few minutes, then release them. So you see, if you are tense, it is also said that you do this, or if you have back hand, you can do it to release your tension or squeezing your hand. Now break your state by remembering what you had for lunch yesterday. Wait few moments. Sometime you are completely blackout. What is blackout? All the switches of your mind gets off. But it doesn't mean that you stop there. You start thinking, you try to revive, you come back to your original state. So squeeze your thumb and forefinger together again. The state will return. With practice, you will be able to go into the state you desire quickly and easily, wherever you wish. When you are in rapport with someone and you go into a certain state, they will follow. So there are, so many things like doing the ring like this, squeezing the thumb and all these things, or rubbing the hand or the pen where you can do like this. So just releasing the nervousness, neutralizing the nervousness. So NLP, this NLP cause and effect language pattern will be familiar to you. Milton Erickson, the great American psychiatrist, was famous for his ability to get results with his client through the use of hypnosis. I discussed this while discussing the model, and after that causes and effect. Hypnosis, hypnotic way of thinking, hypnotic way of training. So he noticed that clients under hypnosis would be more receptive to his suggestion, primarily because they were relaxed. He was able to bypass their normally obstructive conscious mind when they were in a trance, and he was able to speak directly with their all-powerful unconscious mind. Bearing in mind that all human learning and change takes place in the unconscious mind, that was a good thing. This is also a kind of a strategy to get things from the criminal during unconscious. So what Erickson says, and the meta model, while discussing the causes and effect, that going under this hypnosis, slowly, gradually, the mind become unconscious, and it is very easy then to know about the things that is already there and the new things learning that is going to the mind. Now Bandler and Grinder, that Milton observed, that Milton Erickson, an indirect hypnosis pioneer, consistently used the same language pattern. Why same language pattern? This is a very pertinent question. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Naturally 10 times also automatically 1 will come out. That is a kind of hypnosis. If you do like this, the pendulum, it is a kind of hypnosis. So the same language pattern with his client. Based on their discovery, they were able to develop hypnotic language pattern. And these patterns subtly utilize spoken words in order to alter the thought process and ultimately a person's mindset. Yes, through hypnosis, I mean even the pendulum, you can control the mind of a person and you can get out of everything that is there in the person mindset. So there are a number of hypnotic language patterns now referred to as Milton model. One of the most common is the cause-effect pattern. You just try to find out that what are the causes, if you are aware of. And I told you that in neuro-linguistic programming, you should be very curious, you should be very conscious, you should be very particular while learning certain things. So cause and effect pattern is very important pattern. Why is this hypnotic language pattern important to learn? The cause effect pattern is significant because it carries the power of implication. Power of implication means that something which is very powerful. Effects need only be implied, and the mind will generally accept and then alter its path in order to achieve the desired result. So, the cause and effect is important because of the implication, because of the outcomes. What you need to know about this hypnotic language pattern, that is the cause and effect, that is hypnotic language. Although it is implied, a cause-effect statement is not necessarily true, not necessarily true. However, without the implied effect, this pattern will not be useful, and the following words and phrases will help identify cause-effect patterns: because, if, then, as, when, during, while, as, you, then you, when you, will cause, and will make. So, what is my point? That the cause and effect statement is not necessarily true. It may or it may not. Because when it is if, when it is then, when it is as, when it is when it is during, while, may or may not be true, may not be true. So, how to use this hypnotic pattern to effectively win people over to your persuasion? While discussing neuro-linguistic programming, I told you that we are all in an age where there is lot of competition. So, how to compete with others? It is really very important to control our communication. How to convince other, how to persuade other, this need a special kind of training. And the question is that, does hypnotic language pattern is going to help you to be a persuasive speaker? Now, the most important thing to remember about this pattern is to pace the client by identifying something they can easily recognize before leading them to the effect. Yes, I mean the very simple thing. Observation is the key to setting a good pace and leading into cause-effect statement. There must be truth to the cause in order to suggest the desired effect. Means it should not be hypothetical. Cause should not be hypothetical. Means some kind of truth and reality. It can be something very simple and casual, but must be true. Otherwise, assumptions are being made and a neurological connection is not possible. Otherwise, assumptions are being made. The various assumptions are being made and a neurological connection is not possible. That is why truth, reality, perfectness is very, very important, and that should be there when we talk of hypnotic language. How else this hypnotic language pattern might be utilized applicably in other useful contexts? Cause-effect pattern is not only for the hypnotherapist. When used correctly, it is easy enough to utilize in everyday life, cause and effect. It is not only that the hypnotherapist should use, it is useful as well in your everyday life. A study shows that extremely high percentage of people will allow a person to bypass them in a line if they are told, because I am in a hurry. Yes, because I am in a hurry. Why you are in a hurry, and why this lame excuse? The word because is viewed by many a magic word. It gives reason for actions or thought. A person who is 40 will use because the same way a child does, to give an explanation that is generally going to be accepted. And same, sorry, I forgot, because I am in hurry. You see, such kind of, such kind of lame excuses, like that person to bypass them in a line if they are told because I am in a hurry. So, hypnotic language patterns are not just for therapists and counselors. You can use it in your day-to-day life. Individuals from multiple industries have figured out how to use spoken words in order to achieve the results they need or want. Successful salesmen and saleswomen will almost always have some type of experience or training for the way they speak. A person with the ability to suggest or persuade with their voice has the unique gift and power to influence their best friend, worst enemies, or even complete a stranger. Teaching is also a kind of hypnotic language pattern, should be, because teaching is a kind of process where we convince a student with the strategy, with the teaching, with the knowledge. Sometimes contradictory, but most of the time we try to convince the student. So understanding NLP filters, when we talk of cause and effect, so filter is also a very important part of this. So one of the many things you will experience when we come to our the training course, I mean, how filters mind work. Within this exclusive NLP training, you will learn the meta model, and our NLP courses will cover it in a very broad manner. So a meta model is going to help you. And what is filters of the mind? When you attend NLP training or courses or hypnotherapy training, you will begin to understand the importance of knowing these filters. That is very important, that because you have to make the mind trafficless. So many traffics are there, so you have to remove the traffics with the help of filters. So an exclusive NLP and hypnotherapy training will move your understanding to a new level of confidence. Knowing these filters is paramount in NLP and hypnotherapy training. The best way to think of these filters is like a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. Now this is the example. Why Ray-Ban is so costly? Nobody, I mean, it is not possible for everyone to afford this. And as you know, that Ray-Ban stops certain rays of light coming in to protect your eyes. This is similar to your filter of the mind. You should have a kind of protection, the layer that filters, that stops certain undesirable things while coming to entering into your mind. So these filters are working all of the time. We are always deleting, distorting, and generalizing. So I can only assume that you would like to come to the, I mean, if you go to the any practitioner training, hypnotherapy training, because you would like to become a life coach or an NLP practitioner. Now deletion. What is deletion? Think of the filter of deletion as nature's economy program. Think of the filter of deletion. Without it, our brain would overload, as we have so much information coming in at any one time that large parts of the information will get deleted. So because of the deletion, our perception can change dramatically, as we are missing bits of information about our experience as it goes through our visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory or gustatory filtering. Our mind is full of so many things, but in a particular situation we need to delete certain things. And in terms of auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, you have to delete certain things, and all of our learning is a state dependent. In other words, if we are not interested or in a unresourceful state, so our brain will find other subjects or things that it will be attracted to, the path of least resistance. And George Miller introduced the idea that we can only deal with 7 plus or minus 2 bits of information at any given time. Whenever we focus on any of our senses, because of that focus, we delete some of the attention away from other senses. True, you cannot pay attention to so many things one at the same time. So naturally, you need to delete some of them. So let us just say, how does someone know when they are appreciated? They might be told that they are a good cook, maybe even thanked and kissed for the time and effort that was taken to prepare the meal. If the person has learned to associate appreciation with some emotional pain, then the action and comments of appreciation will be deleted or shrugged off, and this could lead to an unexpected response. You are leading this, and hopefully finding this fascinating, you are not aware of the way you are sitting or position your feet are in. What about the sound outside or the sound of a clock? Our brain enjoys learning. In fact, that its job, and sometimes it's not bothered about what it learns, which is really quite unique and gives you the opportunity to change your learning. Of course, that depends on you knowing that there is information you want to learn. The interesting thing with the brain is that it has learnt information that may be resourceful now, but was resourceful at some other time, and that particular response you learn is now outdated. Your unconscious mind over time has managed to look after all those things that you are unaware of. It has deleted them from your conscious mind and put them somewhere in your memory. So if need be, you may retrieve the information. So how to accept your appreciation? How to remember your appreciation? Where is appreciation in your mind? If you are being appreciated some day or some, and distortion, that when we fantasize a dream, well, we use the filter of distortion. Like planning the future, we distort time, prediction of action, and no one knows what the future will be. We use experiences from the past and tend to shift the information through visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, filtering into the future. And that is why Richard Bandler remarked that disappointment needs good planning. Yes. Why you are disappointed? What is the cause and what is the effect? So we can put all sorts of resourceful states into the future that can help us to achieve our goals. And generalization, you know, generalization is not good. It is kind of belief system, but then what Cosi-Baxi law of individuality states that no two persons or situations or stages of process are the same in detail. Very true. He noted that we have far fewer words and concepts than unique experiences, and this tends to lead the identification or confusion of two or more situations that are known as generalization. Very true. So generalizations are the mechanism which generate belief. So these are the waves, friend, and I hope that you must have gathered some opinion about the causes and effect, and always remember that causes are greater than effect. Next, in next lecture, we shall discuss the 4 pillars of neuro-linguistic programming. Till then, thank you very much. See you again.